That's so funny. All right, well, we're doing it again. What are you going to do?
This is how we do it.
1, 2, and 3. I think we're good.
Yes, indeed. And you've already scoped out all the cameras.
You know what's up. You're a pro.
I was going to say, is this all the years of having clients and going, all right, well, I have to know every angle they're captured from, etc.?
Yeah.
Which ear can I dig into during the interview and which ear can I not?
We don't have tally lights. It was a little too distracting because they're like the flashes from the iPhones. We're using iPhones.
Yep.
It's a big show here. Big show.
Yeah.
All right, well, everybody, hello. Hi,
Did you
Mrs.
get my bio
Ryan.
for the intro?
I didn't get your bio. No, I heard that you used to work with Mrs. Ryan. That was good enough for me.
That's and we shared a client,
Yeah.
Hockey Man.
Yeah. Sean Avery.
Well, his book's right next to the one you were just pointing at a second ago. Hello, everybody. Today is Wednesday, April 25th. We are here. We are the Ryans. I'm Jay. This is Mrs.
Hello.
And we're here with ALFRED HOPTON,
Hi.
who I don't have a bio
Good to see you again.
except that he is a former colleague of Mrs. Ryan. They work together in the PR industry, and now he also does other things. So we're here to talk about all that stuff. Welcome.
Do you want me to talk about first the 2 props I have in my hands as gifts for both you?
Sure. What is it?
Oh, no shit, because you were at the
Avenger
premiere.
premiere Monday night.
Oh, my
I went and
gosh.
saw
All over
Infinity
Facebook.
Wars.
I have
Thank
to.
you.
This is adorable.
You're welcome. Please open whenever you want, or save it for your next convention and sign it and sell it.
That's amazing.
That's where the money is. Yep.
We.
You
How much
pro.
do you know about us?
I know her, and I watched the first podcast.
Oh, cool.
And you guys go into that Porsche thing with the funny name, Lufthangragen?
We did go to Lufthangragen. Yeah. We had a very good time wearing our Lufthanhosen.
And she had the Where's Waldo hat on.
Always. Yeah, that's her trademark.
Yep. It's like a really cute Where's Waldo. Like, oh, there she is. Look, she's over there by the car.
It's one of those things that hat is
You're
so old,
hilarious.
it's her trademark. It's so old, it's fraying, but we're actually having them made now. Somebody else is going to remake them as if like for the masses.
Oh, great.
It was, I
It
believe,
became a thing.
from a Sundance gift bag from about 10 years ago.
That's exactly
you know
right.
this.
That's what you always said.
And I started wearing it. People ask me all the time why I wear it because it's not intentional.
Yeah.
But like the car that we drive, the Porsche that we drive in, the yellow car, is we put the windows down. Like we don't. And my hair gets in my face. And then there was a year where I didn't cut it, and it was really long. And now it's breaking. It's really brittle. So like it just keeps the flyaways out. Like it's too. I'd rather enjoy the time in the car than to spend it doing like what I used to do of like. Slapping my face.
I'm going to say it was a creative choice, and it's working out wonderfully.
Now it
Windows
works.
down, Targa top down. Like
We don't have a Targa.
But Targa is a Porsche term, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that right?
That was good.
A roofless car,
I
yeah?
want to appeal to all your Porsche viewers. Classy. Not that because I drive a Chrysler Sebring.
Nothing wrong with that. Sounds like a company car, though, I have to say.
My nephew mocked me for it. Was like just bagging me all about it, and I was like, I don't understand.
Is it a newer one or like from the 90s?
06.
Oh, okay. No. There's nothing. I'm just asking because it's a different thing.
And I had no idea what his cultural reference or relevant. He goes, "It's the car Michael Scott drove," and I was like, "Well, that actually made me like it."
From The Office?
From The Office.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Put it, I don't know.
I didn't either.
I didn't make the connection. Which one's Michael Scott?
The Corel.
Correll.
Oh, the main guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
funny. So
But
that
it's
was a thing in the
cultural
show.
marker.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't all that fancy when that show was going on either. There was a Will Ferrell sketch a long time ago where I drive a Dodge Stratus, and it was like a big thing. Like I'm a head honcho. I drive a Dodge Stratus, which is like the entry level Dodge in the '90s. It's like the neon, then the Stratus, and then the Stealth, and whatever else.
I feel like anything Corel did in that role became a cultural stamp of socioeconomic status and everything he portrayed himself to be.
I'm glad we're actually talking about that. And I don't want to take too much time with it, but did you guys watch the British Office before the American Office?
I think I saw like the pilot, the first episode, the second episode. I think I did. It was a real short season though.
Yeah, and it was only
like
I think
6
one
or
season
8
too.
episodes.
Yeah, I think 6. I think you're right.
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah. No, I was just curious because I had seen that first. I was one of the few who, had been exposed to it. And then when the other one came on, it was like, oh, it's so Americanized. It just felt homogenized,
I worked with someone who worked with Steve, and so we got the British version as like prep work to understand, because it's very similar. It's written by a lot of the same people. And it feels very different.
Yeah.
But
We
Carell,
can barely hear you there.
Sorry.
No, that's
get
right.
on the mic.
Slide up there. Or if you
Alfred.
want, there's cans right next to you. It's up to you. You've got such beautiful hair, and I know you're dressed up to be a talk show host.
I mean, you're both. I knew this was what I was so excited about. All I really want to make sure I say, because I forget everything, is that working with Alfred had like the emotional feeling that I get with you of like he knows everything, a little bit about everything, but will thoughtfully dig into any topic that's related that he knows anything about.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to talk to both of you.
Well, I was setting the studio up for about 5 or 10 minutes when you guys, when you first got here and you guys started chatting it up. It sounds like best friends, reacquainted. You've got a million things to catch up on. I don't want to take too much time. I want to kind of be here for all of that and celebrate what it is for you guys too, as a reunion and chit chat and whatever.
Do you want to play the catch up and I'll tell her what I'm up to?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Ooh, okay.
I think that's natural. I feel like that's what we would be doing anyway. So we push authenticity.
This
on
is
this
kind
show.
of what we're about now.
produced.
You knew me when I was like growing the layers of bullshit around myself. So you were there for all of that. And now I'm in the let's dissipate all of those layers of bullshit, or I supposedly already have, and I'm growing back into a real human.
Okay.
Like Pinocchio.
That's awesome. All right, so I'm a dad mostly. I'm a stage dad. I have a 10-year-old daughter, Stella. She's
I met her when she was this big.
little teeny tiny. She would come around and I'd have her at the office and she was slightly entertaining. Now she's full-blown entertaining. Probably the most entertaining story I will say about her. So her mom is the type of person that if Stella gets a paper cut, she has to go to emergency care. If I don't see bone sticking out of the skin, my fat ass doesn't get off the couch to get her a Band-Aid.
All good.
So somewhere in there, I hope my daughter finds that middle. So one night after
That's what you do, right? As a parent, you just, you show them these are the options, and then you hope that they find some middle ground somewhere.
Extreme moderation. If you polarize both sides, hopefully they find the middle of neutral ground and they stay that way. So
this isn't ice cold and it's not cauterized. I guess I can walk here.
So she, one night after dinner, she said, "Daddy, my tummy hurts." And I said, "Here, kid, drink some water and see what happens." So about 30 minutes later, it's 8 o'clock. She goes to the bathroom, and then I check and I'm like, well, it's her bath shower time.
Did you say how old she was?
10.
At the time this was 7.
Okay,
so
7 years old. Okay.
So I go in there and she's sitting on the toilet, and I go in there and I turn the shower on, and we're big Weird Al fans.
Oh, nice.
Took her to my birthday. We went to see him at the Bowl.
Wow.
Big Al fans. So I turn on the iPod and crank up, Alpocalypse, the greatest hits. And so she's sitting on the toilet going,
Uh-oh.
and she goes, "Daddy, I don't feel so good." And I go, "Well, what's wrong, sweetie?" And she goes, "Well, I'm trying to go poo-poo, and it's only halfway there." And then there's this pause, and she starts singing, "Whoa, we're halfway there."
Oh, my
And I
God.
look at her like, and I had to call in response, "Whoa, living on a prayer."
7 years old.
7, and this is the thing that really brought
Now, what's
my-
more, the 7, and this is only 3 years ago. So for the rest of the world, this is way out of left field.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know what it is because we're of a certain age.
True. The millennials may
She
not
does
get
No
the
clue,
reference.
right?
No,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
Your daughter, though, I think the point is that your daughter's not even a millennial. Like,
That's it.
It's not even in her wheelhouse, that reference.
And I browbeat her with films and music that I want her indoctrinated with.
Sure.
Van Halen, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Skinner, mostly guitar
Wow,
oriented
okay, yeah.
rock from the 70s and 80s. And I like Bon Jovi. I had Slippery When Wet when it came out.
God.
I've never made her listen to that song. Like the fact that she figuratively pulled that one out of her ass for comedic purposes made me so proud. Like I feel like I've accomplished something.
That's what I was going to say. It's an achievement just to have a daughter who is already funny at 7 and naturally funny. I mean, that's a joke. She wrote a joke on the fly.
So funny.
Yeah, on the can.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So when she was 2 and I was working with her at BWR, I worked with the Wayans brothers.
Oh, right.
And a woman that did their merchandising left them to start a kids' clothing line. And Stella was just about 2, and it's called Joa Love. And the woman's name, Ayung Kim, she's great. She hit me up and said, "Hey, would she model?
Wanna wear it, yeah.
She has flaming red hair, and that obviously stands out visually. So we were like, sure. So we did that, and that just kind of, set the platform. So hopefully one day when my kid gets, world famous, she can thank the Wayans brothers in some cryptic way. But that's what
funny.
did it. Yeah, that's what did it. And so she ended up with she's at 2 different agencies. She's got one for modeling and one for commercial and theatrical. She's done 4 national TV spots.
Wow, this is awesome. She's really working.
Her mom worked on Chelsea Lately. And then when they made the scripted spinoff after Lately,
She was a production something though,
I was
right?
gonna ask, in what capacity?
She worked in talent with Siobhan Chanda.
But like as
With
a
Bob
booker
Yeah.
before.
Oh,
yeah.
before. Okay.
Yeah. So when this was like early. This was like the show's first season.
Oh, okay.
Of Chelsea.
And this is the E show, right?
Yes.
That was the E. Okay, I gotcha.
So her mom worked on the show, and they put Stella in the pilot for, I think it was the pilot for the scripted spinoff, and so she did that, and she's done a couple of days episodes and shit like that. So, but mostly it's commercial stuff, and I spend at least a week, a month driving her.
I see
over
your
the
social.
hill.
You guys are busy with her.
Yeah.
She's constantly working.
Yeah. So being flexible and driving her around led to, she has a softball habit, and that ain't cheap. It's probably nowhere near hockey equipment, but it makes a dent. So I ended up doing the rideshare thing for a rideshare company. I don't want to plug.
You're not plugging
but I'll just
anything.
say it's a verb. So, I figured out if I've been driving this little baboon all over town, I might as well do this. So, as a side hustle, as the kids say today, I've been doing the lifty thing.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a common thing, right? I mean, we know a lot of people who are doing that as a supplementary income.
Change of like, what do you want to spend all of your day in an office working to make someone else money, or do you want to accommodate your lifestyle?
Do you have 4 free hours in the afternoon
Yeah.
where you could all of a sudden have a couple hundred or $100, whatever the heck it is?
Yeah.
It just changes everything. We used to work all the time. I mean, we worked before Blackberries and cell phones and pagers, so we were fax machines and like so locked to an office to be like, this is what time you should show up. And then when someone would call back and be like, I'm not available for 5 minutes until then, so maybe 20 minutes later would be great. And then you have to go through the whole rigmarole of it, calling a car and changing the schedule, refax. So I used to see you in the office at like 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
And then again at 7 in the morning.
Crap. Yep. Yeah. So the kid doing that, and the greatest benefit of doing the Lyft thing, other than financially getting paid small penance, I have learned more about food in this town in the 10 months that I've been doing it than the
Really?
20.
Oh, because you're probably always driving to and from restaurants.
To and from, you're talking to people about restaurants all the time.
So you get the excitement and then the how was it?
Yeah. And you then are driving around, you're in Chinatown, you're starving, and you pull over and you just try something. I've made up a new rule that I don't eat at restaurants if they can't spell their name properly.
Ooh.
So I was.
You have no problem working for companies that way.
Right? Yeah. No. And
That verb has a Y in it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right.
Not a restaurant.
Sorry,
I'm all about continuity.
You are good job.
Talk shots.
So I was in in Alhambra, not necessarily a hot spot for cuisine, but I had to get gas, and so I look on my Yelper, and it tells me there's a burger place right there next to it. It's got like 4.5 stars, and that's fine. I just wanted a burger. I really wasn't looking for anything other than just something quick, and so I go in, and it just wasn't great. The bun was a pillow.
Oh man!
And the name of the place was Doubles, and it was spelled Doubelz.
Now I see your point. You mean like kitschy type? Yeah.
In and out is a contraction. The N is a contraction. So I've had this conversation with people.
I don't know that. Yeah, I would agree with you. I wouldn't count that. Apostrophes also, I think, are fine as long as they're grammatically correct.
Yeah. Contractions.
You know what I mean?
It's not an incorrect.
Yeah, you're right. Contractions, exactly.
So that's in driving, and you pick up people, and you can't talk politics with people because that can always go really bad. You can't really talk religion unless you're just going, oh yeah, your God's great. Oh yeah, your God's great. Yeah, God, or whatever. And then you can't always talk movies because not everybody saw something, and you can't talk sports because not everybody gives about sports.
But everybody eats.
Everybody eats. Everybody's got to eat, and most people can always talk about food. You learn about restaurants like that. So I drop off this couple in Koreatown at a place called The Prince. You ever heard of it?
No.
I hadn't either. It's been here for like 9 decades.
We don't know much, though. We're in a bubble.
You guys drive around town a lot in your little pretty little fancy car.
You're adorable.
You know,
Yeah, but to like, diners and weird places in the mountains and,
okay.
hole in the walls, dives and stuff.
I'd like to reiterate, I'm not fancy anymore.
Okay, well, this place, I didn't think it was fancy. So the people I pick up, they tell me they have the best Korean fried chicken in L.A. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, then that's...
But I've also heard that Korean fried chicken is some of the best fried chicken, which I've never had it, so I don't know, but I've heard that.
It was really, really good. I went in and I took my kid and I got the half and half, which is half their fried chicken and half the spicy. And the spicy was fine, but their chicken was great. The cool thing about this place is they used it for a shit ton of interiors from Mad Men.
Oh, cool.
So the bar, yeah. So if you're a
No
Mad Men
way.
fan, yeah. It's worth going.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, The Prince, and that's the kind of stuff that makes you go, and then this whole damn town. Jonathan Gold's right. It's there's so much here.
You saying Koreatown? I think I may know the place. Is it like the red? Is it a red kind of dark and red
Yes.
bar? Red bar, dark.
Yes.
I can't talk at all. I just had a stroke apparently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an old red, dark.
Like booth?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like it's got paintings and red booths, and if you want to call your server, you press a button on the
Fancy.
yeah,
Like on the old thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
That's neat.
Yeah,
It's Korean?
it's
Is
Korean,
it
yeah.
dim sum?
No, it's
That's
just a full-on menu.
different.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like regular sit down.
I only know it as San Franciscan Chinese. I don't know it as like what shows up at your house.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know it as what shows up at your house when you order Chinese food.
Yeah.
I thought you said Winchell's Beer House.
No,
I don't know
like
it as
their
Winchell's
donut.
Beer House.
No, when I was a binger, I used to go to that donut place all the time. I'm having a dinner party. No, you're not. You're a fatty.
Did you Ariana Grande them and she loved the Winchells. Ariana, remember when Ariana?
What does she do? I know who she is.
She licked on a donut. There was it was a TMZ fodder.
You're awesome. I haven't looked at TMZ in 4 years.
I liked Ariana Grande, but
She was great on SNL. I had never heard of her, and
Yeah.
she hosted and was the musical guest on
Yeah.
SNL, and we were both super impressed.
She did a great job.
We really were.
my entertainment consumption, I have to fight for the time because I have to surrender a lot of it to
Stella.
a child. So there was this Nickelodeon show called Sam and Cat where she played like the ditzy friend to like a tough biker chick.
Ariana did?
Yes, she was so good. Like that show was so. Like if you had stuck that on like regular broadcast, it would have been great. It would have been a CBS hit show.
Wow.
And I had no interest. I've had to watch a bunch of these crappy things with my
Of
kid.
course.
And it was.
Cass,
it was
heads
solid.
up.
Yeah, Sam and Cat. If you're ever on one of your streaming services and you come across Sam and Cat, I recommend Sam.
That's awesome.
Nickelodeon's good like that.
They're good
I
like
feel
that.
like they have adults that write for adults with a kid understanding.
Yep.
This may be a great time to just put
Yeah.
it out there because I already did on Instagram, but
We have to.
it was announced today that they're doing a Double Dare reboot. Now, Double Dare was my childhood obsession prior to Letterman. You know what I mean? Like that was when I was a little
Really?
kid. Oh yeah, and I think a lot of Mark, also from Indianapolis, had a lot of influence also from all of that. He just whatever they ran the room sort
Yeah.
of the same way. So they just announced a reboot. Marc Summers, would you please come on the podcast to talk to us next time you're in LA?
Please
I
come
think
and
that
talk.
you would, and we've exchanged some messages online before. I have an entire childhood following you guys and Robin and Dave and Harvey and everybody. And I have pictures of Lake Compounce in Connecticut when I was a kid, when they used to do the road show and being up on stage and all that stuff. And I sent pictures that I drew into the show, and like Mark sent me a, like a handwritten
That's so
thing and like a
cool.
T-shirt. And like your picture of the Double Dare set was incredible, and
Here's
all
the
that
thing,
stuff.
you
It'd be
guys
neat
have
to pull it out,
written back and
have
forth on
him
Facebook.
have him here now that I'm an adult, and you know what I mean.
I would love that.
Awesome.
Plus, it's happening for him, and that I mean, he's been successful the whole time with Food Network stuff and everything, and all his shows.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Speaking of food. he
anyway,
knows
Marc
what's
Summers,
up.
please come here.
Marc Summers, that'd be great. And I just to add to that, because I like to do that.
Yeah.
I was on What Would You Do?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were.
And I looked for that
And
clip
that was-
today.
That was Mark and Robin as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to just give a personal plea because I can't find that link anywhere, that video.
Yeah.
And I don't remember when it was. I think it was like 89.
That sounds right.
I played
And it was at
the
Universal
Bride
Florida,
of
right?
Frankenstein. It was in Florida. We did a dance.
Nickelodeon
and we were
Studios
called from
Orlando.
The audience.
Wow.
So FYI.
Wow.
So
Y'all
what-
are
you
young.
mean-
I was in college when all that was going on.
You were?
I'm that old. Don't let the facial work.
I,
Beard to hide the
we
fat
were all,
rolls
here's
fool
the
ya.
deal. We're all the same age because we were all the same age when we started.
That's what I think.
So whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like 19-ish then.
Yeah.
And I think I don't remember actually how I met you, if it's like through work, but I know that we have a mutual friend that's so random, Eddie.
Oh, yeah. Eddie was
But I don't remember why we have that in common.
well, because Eddie was at Rogers and Cowan way back in the day, and that's where he and I knew each other.
Did you work there with
Yeah,
him
yeah.
before you worked with me at that other
Yes.
place?
Yeah, and so just through
Oh.
all other connections, and Eddie always being where Eddie is, Eddie, you've got to do this. Eddie.
Can't wait. Yeah, we've been talking about that too. He's a comedian.
Oh,
that
awesome.
I've talked to you about, and he's going to come on in May, I think.
Eddie works in music production, and he can know, but like Coachella, all the YouTube,
large scale video
large,
music production.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the guy that will tell you don't hit him up for tickets when you need them to
Yeah.
Coachella.
Oh,
But,
God.
yeah,
I'm not the guy.
Stagecoach, he just throws them out.
Hilarious.
So yeah, so I've been driving, and I sent you the message of this, and the one thing, like after talking about food, if people want to have a conversation and talk pop culture, there is one thing I will go to the mattresses on as an argument.
Please.
Ooh.
Die Hard.
Christmas movie.
Not a Christmas.
Christmas movie.
Christmas movie.
Not, and I will flip this table and I will rip everything out. Not a Christmas movie.
Why?
The truth is, I agree with you, but I like to
You wanna
categorize
bet?
it.
I have a litany of reasons. One, and I think first and foremost, that to appease my entertainment corporate overlords, that if a movie studio,
You don't have to wear those if
Okay.
you don't want to.
If
That
a
was
mo-
more so you could
I
hear
think I
if you could hear yourself there, so you can stay close to the mic.
the corporate overlords don't release Christmas movies in July.
Oh, you know what? Wow, that's a big one.
Deep, huh?
Yeah.
Deep. Movie
It's pretty
posters,
simple,
there's no
too.
picture of a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I don't believe just because a film takes place during a time of year makes it that type of a movie.
Well, I would agree with that, except that this one, it's really part of the plot throughout. I mean, he's
agree.
bringing a Christmas bear. He's there, like the whole thing. The guy, there's music playing, Christmas playing. There's a Christmas party. It's all about Christmas.
So
the whole
Iron Man
thing.
3 would be a Christmas film as well.
Because yeah, actually, I think I would. Why not?
So a Christmas movie.
Are we looking? What constitutes a Christmas movie? Is it the ability to watch it without?
I think what you're
Prejudice
saying is, what
during
are
the holiday
criteria?
season?
What are the criteria? Yes. And when you say to me, without prejudice would mean watching it so you can watch it with the whole family.
Sure.
From senile old grandpa to the young impressionable children. And
That's what you're going to say a Christmas movie is?
it should be.
Yeah, okay.
It should
Family
be.
friendly.
How's
that?
The motivation of the characters should be in either the spirit of Christmas or pertaining to one of the beliefs or fantasies of Christmas, whether
Sure.
it's the birth of Jesus or Rudolph or Frosty or any Grinch or whomever. If you're not relying on lore, you need to stick to.
Then let me ask you this: Home Alone, Christmas movie?
Very much so.
Why?
Kid goes to church.
In my opinion, there's more Christmas in Die Hard than there is in Home Alone.
No, there's not.
In my opinion, otherwise it's just stage props, which is your argument for Die Hard.
But
I'm saying it's part of the plot.
True, but don't forget Kevin. His motivation.
I do it too.
And
Everybody.
Kevin! Karen from Goodfellas. Karen! I do Karen all the time whenever.
Not without your car keys, you're not.
Karen!
Still going out, Karen. Not without your car keys, you're not. That's for Steve Kaz. Danbury Chive.
I love.
Don't forget, Kevin's motivated for his family for Christmas. Like, there's motivations to have everyone together for Christmas.
Ooh, only at the end once he realizes after they're gone,
Well,
right?
but the family's motivated to get back to get him. Like, everybody is motivated about Christmas. He goes and, in the spirit of Christmas, gets to meet the crazy old man next door. There's that whole story.
All of this stuff happens, but not because of Christmas. Because he's left alone. They go away during the Christmas season.
Right. But he still goes to church.
Sure.
Okay,
Does
well,
that make it Christmas to you?
No.
If you're bringing in the big JC and the whole premise of,
But
yeah.
as a
It could
creative,
just-
wasn't that a vehicle just to get the kid with the old man?
It could be May.
Well, the vehicle of Christmas was but they were leaving to go for a Christmas trip. So no, Christmas is permeated through it.
But John McClane was flying to L.A. for Christmas to see his wife and kid.
True. True, but don't forget in the scene where he's on the walkie with
Pal, yeah.
and he's plucking the glass out of his feet.
Yeah.
At no point does he get back on the walkie and go, "Oh yeah," and tell all the guys at the station Merry Christmas.
But isn't that just because guys don't do that?
I will say this: what's the closing?
I love Christmas.
What's the closing song?
Oh,
during the
weather
credits.
Outside. True. Okay. Yes. Christmas music is used in it. I agree. All right. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Homicidal
everything.
maniac dresses up as Santa and butchers people. You're gonna watch that with the kids and
Here's the
grandpa?
deal.
Here's my point to all of this: there is no winning. Just like your parenting,
Yeah.
there is your side and there's
Yep.
this side, and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Nothing, if zoomed out far enough and argued far enough, nothing will ever stand up.
Kids
That's
are
the universe.
supposed to go
That's
to
what we're
bed.
pushing with our podcast.
Not that it was followed well in my family,
Right.
but kids are supposed to go to bed on Christmas Eve.
Right.
So there is time for adults to watch adult entertainment in the form of Die Hard
Right.
or whatever that's not kid-friendly Home Alone holiday fare.
True.
Just an FYI. I just want to throw that out to everyone.
I'm not saying you can't watch it at Christmas and feel Christmassy, but
Let me ask you this: is Die Hard 2 a Christmas movie?
no.
Oh, man, same reasons.
Yes, there's no real spirit or
The spirit of Christmas. Well, now we're talking different things.
Now again, let me.
Then I would say probably that Tom Hanks, Robert Zemeckis movie is the most Christmas movie
The
of all
Polar
time
Express?
for me. Yeah.
Oh,
If you're looking at the spirit of Christmas,
Yeah.
inside it all, I personally love that movie. I can tell that you're maybe not such a fan.
don't recall enough to be fairly critical or judgmental on either side.
Hold
Just as
up.
far as the spirit.
Hold up.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can look past all of the weird faces and the technology at the time, the
Do
story's
you
great.
believe in criteria for sports movies?
I feel like I probably shouldn't get involved in this because I know nothing, and I mean nothing about sports.
Okay, but Rocky.
I've seen it. Yes.
You've seen all 5, 6?
No.
Definitely not 6.
Okay.
Definitely not Creed. I saw the first one last. I saw the fourth one first.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I was a kid at the time.
All right. Did you ever see the movie with Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans, The Last Boy Scout?
Yes, but again, when it came out in 1992 or whatever.
Sports movie?
Oh, wouldn't know. I don't remember what it was about.
Because in the movie,
I thought one was a cop or something.
Yeah, Bruce Willis is a former Secret Service guy who gets booted because he punches a senator.
Holy shit! I should watch it. It sounds good.
I love it.
Is it what, a guilty pleasure? Or is it a
I-
genuinely
I-
good
there's
movie?
nothing guilty, it's genuinely
Oh, good.
And I love Damon Wayans. Again, I'm very biased to the Wayans.
Here's the thing. We're going to pry into the Jay Ryan thing here. I go deep on the Wayans because when I was a kid, and Chris, we talk about this
Way
with Chris
better
Rock
than
all the
me.
time, but when I was a kid, somehow I got a hold, I think there was a video store that was going out of business, no joke. Somehow I ended up with a VHS of I'm going to get you sucker. And I wore that fucking thing out. It was
Hell
my
yeah.
favorite
Yep.
movie.
Yep.
So you got Marlon and Damon together as the bumbling brothers. You farted? You know, all that shit. Lenny, you wouldn't be doing it. I'm telling you, I know I could do the whole thing. So I go deep with that. And then one of my first Letterman appearances, not appearances, that's ridiculous, but audience whatevers, Damon Wayans was a guest as well. And this was in the 90s at NBC at the old days. Actually, with Seth Graham-Smith. Seriously, the
Forever,
writer,
yeah.
a famous writer and producer now. We went to high school together.
Damon did in '85. It was a real bad SNL year. He was a featured player. He and Anthony Michael Hall
Anthony
did,
Michael Hall
did their
and
thing.
Robert Downey Jr.
RDJ, Randy Quaid.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Nope, she was gone by then.
Oh, she was?
Because this was after the Billy Crystal year.
Got it.
It was
It was 85, 86? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
right.
This is how old I am. I remember that because that was the year we got our first VCR.
Oh, nice.
I would tape
Wait,
SNLs
86?
and Letterman's, the NBC Letterman.
Yeah, same
now
here.
you're
religiously
talk.
Okay, to get into the Letterman thing just for a brief second, someone
Oh.
needs to pay up.
all right.
Whoever owns the film festival. Remember, they used to have the David Letterman Film Festival
In the
And
early days of
They
NBC.
did one on a plane.
Yeah.
Okay, and they did one with Michael Keaton.
These were anniversary shows and stuff. These are, well, I don't want to say too. You can watch that plane one on YouTube.
Okay.
You can watch a lot
They're
of this
there?
stuff on YouTube.
Okay.
I've watched a tremendous amount of Letterman over the last 3
We're
years
doing a
on
documentary.
YouTube. We're in the we're
You don't
Dude.
know this stuff. There's a lot that we need to actually talk
hang
about.
on. Let's look up at the screen there for a second, just
Yeah.
since we
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about this stuff a
Remember
lot.
the monitors.
Check
Oh,
out the
Do
monitor.
you remember this
Yes.
and this?
Yeah.
So you know this
Yeah.
and these.
Those are ours.
We actually have the Letterman desk and chairs, and we're trying to get Tom Green on the show because
This is right.
Did that ever pan out?
because
The
he's
guy?
no. I just reached out to him today.
Okay.
Because we just were talking about bringing the desk and chairs and using them in here. The actual Letterman broadcast desk and chairs, like broadcast history. So, but Tom Green originated the talk show host in his house, and he also outgrew it.
Yeah.
So I feel like his insight would be beneficial to us right now, because right now it's our dining room.
Yeah.
And it's nice and it's a set, but it's our dining room.
Yeah.
The moment we do that, it's a different thing.
Yeah, everything changes.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
So that's why we want Tom Green in to kind of just tell us what his experiences were, what he think, and he also is a diehard Letterman fan. He's got the Late Show jacket that I have and the whole bit, you know.
Remember the Michael J. Fox one where he juxtaposes a symphony and a hockey thing? It was great.
Oh, because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Michael
funny.
Keaton's was great because Michael Keaton goes into his agent's office in a robe and sunglasses. Goes, "What'd you call me down for? Count my women or count my money?"
Sounds like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, he does the whole thing, and his agent tells him, "You got no money, you're broke," and he ends up going to have to do all these commercials, and he does one for some carpet place, and he can't do it right. He's not working with the actor, so Clint Howard,
Oh my gosh,
is a bum, and Clint Howard crawls out of like the garbage and then ends up doing, "I'll drop my pants for you. I'm crazy." I used to watch those things. Like I would religiously watch those cassettes of the old Letterman everything.
Yeah.
Like,
You did?
The NBC, I think that just it was not the same when he went to CBS.
Agreed.
In terms of his participation in being Mr. Curious and the throwing shit off the building.
He became famous and couldn't do that stuff anymore. With putting his face in front of it.
I think he didn't want to.
It's probably a lot of that too.
He didn't want to.
Probably some of that.
And
I think later on, for sure.
Yeah. And it was good. And I missed Chris Elliott and the Man Under the Seats.
So I grew up in the same town where Letterman lived and where Chris Elliott lived, and I used to host. Look up behind you. I have that picture up there. I used to have a Letterman type show when I was in high school on the local educational access.
Paul Schaefer?
Yeah, my aunt knew Paul Schaefer. We used to go to the show all the time. Damn. So I was like obsessed.
Yeah.
I mean, I drew pictures. I had the set down. I made
like another level.
I would call it love, not obsession.
Well,
Obsessions can sound creepy and you could be sued for it. Love is.
Well, you're going to see this documentary, pal.
Documentary is referred to as Love Letters to Late Night.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because I agree with you. It's all just, there's so much, the deeper we go, there's so much love that's shared between weird people that know that world. Yeah. That it's just that. It's just a different kind. It's like those quizzes they give girls in Glamour that's like 5 ways to love your man.
Yeah.
5 different love languages. Like, this is just one of them. This is the 7th one.
Oh.
There's a connection, though, the people who remember the NBC stuff. You know, she didn't, you know, Nicole working in PR and successfully doing all of those shows for so many years, she had a different understanding of who Letterman was, and she didn't used to be a fan of going to have to do that show, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And I said, I understand. What I'm telling you, what I'm into is not the same thing. I'm not saying that you like this and I don't, or vice versa. We're talking about apples and oranges.
Completely.
And then we started with the YouTube, and then we went down deep. And she is now like, holy fuck, I get it. The veil's lifted. I had no idea. And now she sees the influence in everybody that she likes, and she sees where that shit came from.
Yeah. And the Schaefer connection, they would do a music video. And
oh, God.
Dress Cool. Do you remember Dress Cool?
No, but I remember so many. Guadalajara Guido and all of them. Just him. Paul used to do the music while they were walking down the street and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
And what's your favorite pedestrian horse races or whatever?
They do they put it like fake music of like horse whatever
they do the bell and everything
with people walking across the crosswalk or whatever, and it's just people like completely unassuming, have no idea.
It's a camera out the window from the 6th floor. You know what I mean? Nobody has any idea.
Now it would just be 100 people on cell phones pushing people, but at the time it was like people that just lived life and walked across a road, and like it's hilarious because they put it to music and they like create. It's like turtle racing. So
funny. That was
funny.
the Steve Allen influence, but it was so well executed that it's kind of like, I'm hoping that there's little tidbits that we're recreating here that it's like, oh, okay, there's the essence. There's somebody who gets it. Okay.
The first album I ever stole from my older sister was Briefcase Full of Blues, the live album the Blues Brothers did.
Whoa!
In I think it was the whole intro was Aykroyd doing the voice of the thing. You're an Aykroyd guy, right?
Yeah, I remember all of this.
Yeah. So and he was the musical guy, and you hear
he was
him
the musical director and
songs,
the whole thing.
Everything. After you make the late night thing, someone really needs to delve into what that band was, because Booker T and the MGs, Paul Schaefer, everything that made that. You know what kind of reminds me of is Craig's band.
Yeah.
The Nasty
It
Delicious.
really does, in the sense of the versatility of what they are as musicians come together with an entertainer, and holy crap, it's pretty damn good.
Paul's an entertainer. Yeah.
I think the cool thing about
that.
all those guys too is that they're all such good musicians on their own that when they get put together, they're almost loafing to do that show.
Yeah.
That's how good it is. You know what I mean? They don't have. Nobody's pushing it.
That's their jam session. It
Yeah,
feels
they
like.
get to
It's
stretch
so
during the commercial breaks a
comfortable.
little bit and do what they want to do, but they're just loafing through. So it's so, you know what I mean? It's like having a stereo with a ton of wattage and you just keep it real low and it's just so clean, you know? It's
That's
like
the
that.
band that Felicia's in, right?
Yes, you love
I am
Felicia Collins.
such a fan of Felicia Collins. She is. I hate the word shout out, but like I really love her. She's so talented, and I love
When we
watching
posted
all
the
her
picture of the
stuff.
desk and we're like, what would you do with this? She actually chimed in. She's like, looks like Letterman's.
Yeah.
I was like, you'd know.
Great.
You were there a lot, but you've taken me to a show out here that
We saw the band. It was Paul Schaefer and the whole band.
it was such a treat, and
Yeah.
because you're right, you really see the difference between the show band and like a performance level night.
Yeah.
It's they're breathtakingly good.
He's been Schaefer's been touring with a band. Is that
He was last year, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on now. I know he started a show at Sirius, I think. He's got a radio
He
show or
started
something
a
now.
show, and I read something forever ago that he was doing stuff like popping with Marty Short because they're friends from Canada and like way back in the
Vegas?
day.
Because
Yeah, he did the
doesn't-
Vegas show. He had a Vegas residency into the new year.
Lovitz and Marty were doing residency in Vegas, or Lovitz and somebody was doing residency?
Marty
That's
and Steve,
rad. I didn't know that.
Steve Martin and Marty Short, I
Oh.
think, had
Was
one
that
someplace.
okay.
Yeah.
Lovitz was doing it with one other person, and I don't know if Schaefer showed, because the Lovitz era and Schaefer era ever never.
Not that I
was
know
going
of.
by them, but maybe I'm thinking, maybe I'm confused. Maybe it was Dana and Lovitz were doing,
Dana Gould?
you know,
Carvey?
Oh,
We're
of course.
we're doing bits or a thing in Vegas. So I was there. I work on the Penn and Teller, or I have worked on the Penn and Teller Fool Us, their magic show.
Love that.
From a child, huge fans of Penn and Teller. From their Letterman appearances with the cockroaches and the microphone, all that stuff. I mean, and the maggots on the desk. And
SNL and Hanging Upside Down. They were featured performers and would come on and do SNL bits.
I remember
yeah,
that.
that was when I first.
when A. Whitney
That's how
Brown
you
was on
found
and
them?
stuff like that, right?
That's how I found them as a
Okay.
kid, way back in the day.
It was like the A. Whitney Brown days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. A. Whitney
I remember
Brown.
that. Yep.
Yeah. Because Dennis was because I'm
Dennis.
I'm very pro. I love Dennis. And I've loved like Dennis's HBO show was great.
Agreed.
Like, it was
One of the
such a
best
great show.
talk shows on
Yeah.
television.
Yeah, and
He
I
did a
think,
big screen and everything.
I think a precursor to what Mar's show is, but I think what Mar does better is the panel and the bringing everyone in thing. But it seems like
Mar's better at the debate,
true, definitely,
you know.
definitely.
So you need the panel for all that.
Of course, and I think Mar is just as great with the new rules and the bits that he does with.
It's the new version, I feel like, and same studio even.
Yeah.
They're at the
Yeah.
Price is Right studio
Yeah.
at CBS.
Yeah,
They just turned that around. They didn't move anywhere.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah, that's cool.
Politically Incorrect was there too. It was just upstairs.
It looks
Where Late
so
Late Show is
different
now.
from what I remember from going there.
Do you remember me playing the video that we found? Doing this documentary, we found all these old photos and videos and everything. So I've got all this footage of like everywhere from 30 Rock to CBS Television City, Universal Studios, all this footage from the 90s. So it's like Politically Incorrect. It's Craig Kilborn. It's all that stuff. It's like, it's a crazy time
Terry
machine.
Bradshaw or Wayne Brady. Did you ever have to hit either of those?
No.
Terry had a daytimer, and so did Wayne.
Wayne, we had on Everybody Hates Chris, I think.
Yeah. The daytime talk shows they had that taped out here.
I remember Wayne's.
Yeah.
It was well before Let's Make a Deal, but they were trying to find, I think he had a network deal and they were trying to find something for him or something like that.
Was that in the 80s or 90s?
No, this was like early
90s.
2000s,
Late
99.
90s, if not right in the early 2000s.
So it
Because
the
he was on
end of the-
he was on a show that was the same as, do you remember, it became Drew Carey, but it was Clive Owen in Britain. Whose Line Is It Anyway? There was a syndicated, not as good version called Quick Wits that a friend of mine hosted. Shout out to Robin Nance from the Laugh Factory days. She was a cocktail waitress at
Did you work at Laugh Factory?
I spent a lot of time there. Yeah.
Okay.
I never worked there.
for Jamie for a little bit.
Really? I
Yeah.
never worked there, but I spent a lot of
I
time.
didn't know that.
Before
Before I knew you?
Yeah, I worked for him for a little while, and then
Anyway, Wayne Brady was on that show. Back to this.
Yeah. Well, I love it. No. But I was like, the laugh. I thought Jamie was great. I think Jamie's wonderful.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had that many personal dealings with him, but the talent that was when I first moved out here, that's where I hung out. I don't know. The vibe was better than the
West
Comedy
Hollywood,
Store at the
back in
time.
the West
Aha,
Hollywood days.
nice. I see what you did
I
there.
lived in West Hollywood.
See what you did there.
No. Look, I lived
Yeah, I
in
go.
West-
When I first moved to town, that's where I hung out. Oh, in West Hollywood.
But you know,
see.
you know where you have to make
The
your
gay
start
spot.
first. It's
For me, it was
spot
well. It
movie.
was
you're
Letterman went to
from
the
the
Letterman
South.
went to the Comedy Store, so I went to the Comedy Store to check it out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it was
Yeah.
just dark, and it wasn't quite the vibe. And then the Laugh Factory, like I made friends with Kenny the door guy and everything.
Yeah.
Did you do you remember him?
Old black guy, right?
Yeah, and the leather jacket, and then Big John was a Samoan guy who actually was managed the room at the time.
Okay, I don't remember Big John. Joe Coy had kind of started, was the young guy that was kind of now starting to be their house guy or just he was like the main regular guy.
No
Okay.
kidding.
Dane.
He way back then.
This was God. This
Oh,
was
if you're
He's
talking about
funny.
in the
when I
room.
was this is when I was working at Laugh Factory.
Okay, the guys were going at this time were Dane Cook and Ron Pearson and what's the maniac's name? You broke my goddamn hammer. Bob Marley.
Okay.
Like all those guys were
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, that was good. No, Greenblatt's
Yeah,
not-
it's good.
No, I like that place. Like
What did you do there?
Just doing PR for about
Oh, no kidding.
9 months, and then I can't remember if that's when I went to. Yeah, that's when I ended up going to BWR. Was right after that, and that's when we
No
ended up
kidding.
working together. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He worked with me and I worked with Avery, just to circle back to that. But,
Sean Avery.
Um,
Shout out to Sean
it
Avery.
was when he was with the Kings, I think, and like I don't remember
Kings
how
and
you got
Rangers.
involved.
Kings and Rangers.
Yeah. Because he's such a dick. I love him, and he'll know that that's a positive. But he only
He's a hockey player. I'm sure he's heard it.
Well,
And I was gonna say he's also Sean Avery, so I'm sure he knows it.
he knows he's one of the sweetest men when it comes down to the core. But like he plays the role of a dick, and he knows
don't
that.
tell
so
anybody he's super sensitive.
He embraces it, like whatever. He's a dick. But he walked into the offices at BWR. He's like, my girlfriend's got a publicist. I can do this shit. Give me someone.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, she's a pretty big deal, his girlfriend at the time. So keep him happy and shut him up.
Yeah.
And I had played hockey in college, and you know sports. So they were like, you're the fucking duo. Go in there. And so we met up with him. And
We were the sports powerhouse.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's so awesome.
Right, she went to Michigan, and I went to a real football school.
Well, but you played hockey at Michigan.
yeah,
And
that's
I was an athlete in college too.
No, I know, but this guy's a hockey player.
At
Boy, it sounds like you
Alabama.
might be a little bit competitive,
At
though.
little bit.
Alabama, our
He's from the
17
South.
national championships, and I was on athletic scholarship. Do you want to know what athletic
yes, please.
cheerleading?
See, yeah, I knew there
Wow.
was. I knew there was a twist.
That's right.
Wow.
She was the hockey goon, and I was the pretty little cheerleader.
Is it safe to assume you were a
figure.
Is it safe to assume you were a base?
Power base. Power base. Yep, power base. And I think it was good though.
in Texas
It was
or
a
in
good
the
time.
South.
Yeah. So yeah.
Hilarious. You had a nice life back then.
That's pretty cool, though. So you went for a cheerleading. You went on a cheerleading scholarship, but you just tried out for football. You played football, assuming, because you couldn't have cheered and played football at the same time
No,
previously.
But I cheered in high school in Mississippi, of all places.
Okay.
I'm amazed I wasn't beaten for this.
Sure, yeah, not accepted.
Male cheerleaders in Mississippi.
A lot of homophobia
Who
back
would
then.
have thought? But turned out it was a pretty safe environment. No one assaulted me. I got by fine. So then, my senior year of high school, I was the mascot. So I did the mascot thing. And so then I go to Alabama, join a fraternity.
I knew there was something.
And the guy that was the fraternity president was just like Bill Murray in every Bill Murray movie. He's the guy that can talk you into anything.
Oh my God.
You know, Meatballs.
Meatballs. I went to Meatballs. Yeah.
Everything. He can talk you. He was basically.
You're never gonna regret this, Ray.
So he talked me into going to trying out for the mascot. And Alabama's mascot's a big elephant thing. So I go, and I'd been
What
there.
is it? What is it? The
It's an
trunks?
elephant.
What are they called? The
Crimson
Alabama
Tide.
Element?
Well, Alabama Crimson Tide, but our mascot's an elephant.
Okay.
So it's like
Who bled all over the water and made it a crimson tide.
something to that effect.
Wow, okay. All right.
So I go and I'm trying out for he tells me to try out for the mascot, and it's a 2-week tryout period. I'm trying out for the mascot, and then the woman that ran the dance squad came up to me and said, have you talked to David? And I was like, who's David? What did I do wrong? I'm panicking. And they go, we think you should try out for the mic man. So the mic man's the guy that prances around in the polyester but yells through the PA system.
What they're saying though is you got a personality and the energy. You could host this show.
I had a voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a voice. So
that's a compliment.
Yeah.
This is nice.
And
we shouldn't hide this guy in a suit.
No, I'm too good looking
Ah.
to be relegated under something. Put him out front, the administration, and they said he will get us more students and whatnot. So I did it my sophomore year, and then I really wasn't paying attention. Apparently, you have to make your grades or some crap like that.
To keep this going.
So that ended, and then after
you gotta read the fine print, on these things. You just have to.
Mandatory study hall. I didn't even know what mandatory meant. So then I ended up doing it again and cheered for 2 years, and we won a national championship. And I'm one of the definitions of obnoxious Alabama fan. And when it comes time,
you're a different kind.
I have teeth.
You have teeth, yeah, because you're a cheerleader.
Sorry, everybody in Alabama.
You had to maintain a kind of beauty to you.
Yeah, Alabama has a standard of beauty.
Yeah,
I guess
no, they don't.
What?
No, they don't have a standard of you set it.
Oh.
So if you're not at that level of beauty, you don't qualify to leave the state.
I set the benchmark.
You live in California now.
I guess
they
so.
let you out.
I made it. I love being here. It's great being in California.
And once again, I don't want to alienate anyone in Alabama.
No, I'm from Mississippi.
You're fine, Mrs. Ryan over here.
No, she's
I'm a jerk, but everyone knows that. Everyone knows that.
You're not a jerk.
She's fine. I'll talk to people back home.
Oh, fantastic. As long as we've got a street team, I'm set.
I emailed him at some point and I'm like, is that weird? Did I just totally ask you something inappropriate? He's like, you've earned your stripes, man. It's fine.
Nice.
So I talk differently, and all those fucking masks, man. You know other people with my disease. Are we all as crazy?
I don't want to say because that would be too obvious.
The answer, okay, well, I will speak for it. Everyone I've met
I feel like that was obvious.
No, and I don't. I will say no because another friend of mine, no, you're both pretty damn determined people. And
Yeah.
I don't think it determines you or you determine it. I just think you're who you are and you're dealing with it in the most amazing way.
Thank you.
By opening up and by what you do with yourself. Like everything, this guy's a rock, obviously.
Yeah.
People have their rocks. She's got rocks now. You've got rocks. Everyone's getting rocks.
Everyone's getting their rocks off.
So yeah, no, but you're amazing, and what you share is quite amazing. So yeah, I watched the pilot, and you really.
We're a little different.
You get people.
Yeah.
You get people.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, you don't have to watch them all by any means because that's a lot of content.
I'm trying. I want to give them all likes.
You're a talk show guy.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate the likes.
Talk show.
But yeah, it's an aggregate. I mean, we just kind of put stuff out there, and it's real and it's authentic. It's us, whatever it is.
Okay.
And sometimes we get into it, and sometimes it's very obvious that one of us isn't having a good day, whether it's health or attitude or whatever. And we just keep all that stuff in because everybody's that way. And if they see that we're that way, but we're okay with it, then maybe they'll be that way and okay with it too, instead of beating themselves up about it so much and then making it's all cyclical, just keeping the perpetual motion machine going. And it's like, that's not good for anybody.
She is a motion machine.
Yeah.
She's
She's good at that too.
I'm trying really hard not to be a motion machine.
No, not emotion, but motion.
Same.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Cut that shit out, man. I gotta slow down.
All
right. Well, you guys, we've got like 10 minutes or so to go, but what haven't we, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take away from you guys because we ended up making it about Letterman and us.
But I want to give a plug. I am affiliated with the Salvation Army.
Okay. They shield.
It is the Red Shield. I worked on a faith-based film a few years ago called Where Hope Grows. Okay. And it was about a young man with Down syndrome who ends up becoming buddies with a washed-up pro baseball player. Pro baseball player goes home to Louisville and becomes an alcoholic, but every time he goes to the grocery store, the young man running the produce section, named Produce, was this young man with Down syndrome. They become friends, and the movie was a great movie. The directors...
I see how this is going already, and then he sees there's something to live for. I totally get this, yes.
It's good.
It's great.
The director's name is Chris Dowling. Chris and I are pals. Chris went to Texas, so he's a Hook 'em Horns guy, and I'm Alabama, so we talk smack. So he invited me to a breakfast... or a networking at the Hollywood location for the Salvation Army, and they have one right in Hollywood, just near the Pantages, right across from Hollywood Toyota. So we go, and they have a woman gets up who speaks about their social justice division, to which I kind of had the same look, like I didn't know this. Basically, my awareness from when I was at Rogers and Cowan was they do the Thanksgiving Day game halftime for the Cowboys. It is, I guess, the third most watched regular, or the
I
first
didn't
most
know
watched
that.
regular
That's
season
great.
game. When I was at Rogers and Cowan,
They sponsor
did
it? Is that what you're saying?
The Joneses give the halftime
Oh, wow, okay.
to the Army. The Army then uses it for marketing purposes to kick off their
Very
Christmas
cool.
thing. It works great.
That's
the
really
Joneses do great.
huge.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's a huge contribution
Yeah.
by you can write up. That's brilliant.
So
Write
many
off.
things.
It's a write off. Yeah.
I mean, this was 95 or 6, and they do that. Pitbull's done it. Third Eye Blind did it. So they rotate all
Sure.
different types of artists. So that was, most people then, that's when you start seeing the people ring the red kettle. I had no idea the stuff they do to fight sex trafficking and human trafficking around the world.
I didn't know that.
And that's what made me go, you know what? I kind of want to know more about you guys. Yes, they're a faith-based organization, and that's, who they are. But the work they do to really help people, that's what, so bring up the whole thing about the daughter, I was like, spooked out. Like, do people fall into sex trafficking like through abductions? And the woman said, no.
As a father, you're talking
As a
about. You
father.
want this information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So I asked her, I said, how do women and girls, boys fall in this? After they get out of foster care.
Whoa.
When they don't have a support system, they don't have a home to go to, when there's no family there for these people. And
Wow.
so that's how most people fall into the sex trafficking and the human trafficking.
That's nuts.
Wow.
And it was really interesting. The woman that got up, her name is Danielle Strickland, and she runs their, she was here. Now I think she's up in the north. But that's what opened me up to Salvation Army. And I want to give them a shout out because they do more during the year that we just don't know about, and I'm trying to help them get that out there.
Yeah, I was going to ask what your capacity was. So you're actually in a PR capacity, just sort of spreading the word.
Just helping out. I work with them. We're formulating this entertainment committee. The guy that runs it, his name's Anthony Begonia, great guy. He's kind of come up with, and it's going to be June 1st at the Chinese Theater. It's a National Donut Day eating competition with the professional eaters
Sure.
that do the Coney Island thing,
Kobayashi and all that, sure.
So that's a real legit organization, and they did it last year, I think, out at the pier, and it got national coverage.
For the Salvation Army, or
yeah.
like
But it's a
specifically
fundraiser.
targeting fundraising for their sex trafficking division.
Fundraiser awareness,
all
all the
the money
above.
goes into their thing.
Okay.
So National Donut Day has been around for forever. It's not like one of these new National Microphone Day.
Right. That's coming too, though. Everybody knows.
I can make it happen. I know people. I actually do. It's kind of funny. So National Donut Day, though, has been around for a long time because in World War I, women in the Salvation Army went to the front lines and made donuts in the helmets of the soldiers. Yeah. And that's how National Donut Day started, not just as a day to bring attention to the donuts, but to bring attention to helping the military.
The cause and the military.
Like
This has nothing to do with the Doughboys, obviously.
No.
I really like donuts, so I'm just going to say that. But that's really nice.
That's coming up. And they've been involved. It's fun. They're good people. So
Absolutely. And then you've got this here too. Is this?
This was just Jonathan Gold. So no, this is my what I keep in the car.
Oh, okay.
For whenever I'm driving people around and we got to go somewhere. And
that's so funny.
Most of these are places that I'm sure are great, but I'm probably wouldn't end up at. A little too pricey. So K-Town has been my go-to. I found a really, really good Chinese food restaurant over on the west side at the 405, right at Santa Monica and Sepulveda. There's a strip mall with a Fat Burger and a Del Taco and a Jamba. And there used to be a Winchell's right there at the first part.
Yeah, I know.
It's turned into a really good Chinese restaurant called Moon House. And I can't shut up about it.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah. So I'll give you all your Uber, Lyft, driver, restaurant tips. This is the one. So I've been written up 4 times.
You've been what?
Written up. Twice for speeding. Once.
Who knows? Oh, did the passengers?
Right.
Oh,
so
good
I've gone
grief.
10 months. I've only gotten four
Citations? Okay.
2 for speeding, which I don't think going 45 and a 35 is that big of a thing. One guy said I was texting while driving, which wasn't true. We were at a stoplight, and it was in its whole thing, and all I did was tap it twice. I'm not that stupid. But then I got reported as creepy.
Now we're talking.
So it was a Sunday. And it's middle of the day, and I pick up this nice woman, probably right about 50 or late 40s. And she gets in the front seat and have a nice chit-chat. I don't remember what movie she saw, but at the end, she goes, you're funny.
Did she offer front or back, or did she
Yeah,
just,
I was
or
gonna say
was it
that's
just like he insisted I sit in the front seat, and it was really creepy?
No, this wasn't the woman that reported me as creepy. This woman was.
Different.
She gets in and she goes after our little chit-chat. She goes, you're really funny. You should do stand-up. And I've never done stand-up, and I was like, maybe I should. So I have this topic point, much like the Die Hard Christmas thing that we can go on.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but around Los Angeles, they have started to rename speed bumps. They're now calling them
Stop.
speed humps. Okay?
See, they used to be a different thing. There used to be speed bumps and speed humps. So now they've just changed the name, and now they're all
there's
just.
no continuity to the whole goddamn thing.
You know, I have a hard time with that.
Me too, man.
Legit.
Me
legit.
too.
Yeah.
So, and there's no, like, the sign above will say caution bumps. On the ground, it says humps. I think someone at City Planning just ran out of bee stencils. It makes no sense. But this is usually a topic I can bring up with people.
The humps are you can roll over this. The bumps you have to almost stop.
Bumps
You know what I mean?
I don't really think there's an actual.
There's supposed to be a
This-
different.
On the East Coast, they were
Yes,
completely.
on
They
the
were.
East
They
Coast,
were.
they were
different.
things better.
Well, they were just made differently. They were a totally different thing.
There's a reason they have different words. They were different nouns with different definitions. One was like a yield sign, go slow, like a yellow light. And one was slow the fuck down. There's kids that run across the road all the time.
Yeah, one keeps the speed limit at 25 miles an hour on
Yeah.
the child-friendly zone, and one is like, you have to stop for this fucking thing so that you don't hit anybody who's coming out over here because we didn't put a mirror up yet.
There's no, like, whether it's a ba-boom or a ba-boom, there's no. So after I picked up this woman, she told me I should do, stand up and think, okay, well, maybe I should work on my act. So I usually ask people, because I'm extremely curious every time we go over one, and I don't frame it. I don't go, excuse me, what do you call that bump and hump?
That would be creepy.
That would, well, but wait. Okay, maybe it was creepy and I'm not seeing it that way. So I usually ask people as we go over, what do you call that? Like, I don't want to frame it by putting one first or second. You know what I mean?
Oh my God! But people maybe be like, well, what wasn't it a speed bump? Was it a body? Was it a kid on a bike? Was it a piece of trash?
No,
What was it?
They can look back. We haven't gone too far. So I usually, like 99 times out of 100, I get bumped.
I can see him though. What the hell was that? Do you know?
No, not it. 99 times it's bump over
What would
hump.
you call that?
And I've only got one person say hump, and they were from Australia.
And what was it at the time? Would you have considered it a hump or a bump?
I've never heard it as a speed hump. That's never been in my lexicon. That's why I'm so frazzled by this.
So you've never known of a speed hump?
Nope. Even living in LA, it's always been speed bumps.
No.
No,
No.
there are places in Santa Monica College, behind Santa Monica College,
and
or-
Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
when
Beverly
you,
Hills.
When you drive through Beverly from our
How
old
recently
office.
have they called them humps?
10
thought that's
years.
all it
Whenever
was.
I
Yeah,
worked there.
It's a new thing. Don't step on my act. It's a new thing.
I'm gonna step on your act because it's bullshit.
We're
It's been a
improving your
hump-
act.
Yeah.
You don't want to act like an idiot when you get up there.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, bro, walk outside.
Heard of that shit?
So the lady, I pick up this woman in Santa Monica, take her to Venice, short run. After the woman tells me I should develop an act, and she gets in, she sits behind me.
But you're percolating.
Well, I wasn't even planning this. We literally take a side street and we go over one, and I say to her, "Hey, what do you call that?" And then I said, "Well, one's usually more associated as a verb than a noun." She stopped talking. There wasn't even another word. And that night, I get the email like, "Sir, you were reported as creepy." And I was like, oh. Now, like, I didn't turn around.
It's Cliff Clavin though when he was like, "Hey, what's the deal with airline food? What's up with that?"
Totally.
I didn't turn around and go, "Hey, lady, bumper hump." That's creepy.
Oh, hang on
That's
though. That
creepy.
never occurred to me that the two words are actually bump and hump.
Okay, maybe this is a Mississippi thing, but like usually I've never had to yell.
No, I forgot
Get
about
those
that, bump
two
and hump.
dogs off the front yard. Those two dogs are bumping. No,
But bump and
two
grind,
dogs
it's
are
a
humping.
thing.
But then bump and
It's a
grind,
thing,
yes.
yeah.
I always take it as a verb. Look at them dogs over there humping in the front yard. That
It is true. It does seem like you're trying to. I mean, I see nothing wrong with it, but I could see someone from the other side who's just trying to get where they're going. Like, wait a second, what's going on here?
Well, I got reported as speeding. I can't go fast anymore. I would have gotten
Over the speed humps?
Yo, that's whenever you go.
In the Chrysler.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, are we at a good stopping point?
Wherever
Yes.
you kids want, yeah.
You'll be
It's
back.
your train. I'm just a passenger.
Because
on it.
you'll be back
I'll
on
go
a
back anytime.
passenger.
I got more. I got more bits.
I know.
I haven't even told you about the guy that hugged me.
Oh my gosh.
Can't wait.
Thank you for the great drive.
Sort of. Sort of.
Thank you for not being weird.
Sort of. No, well, no, it's a long one. We'll save it.
All right. Well, I wanted to tell you. I don't think I told you. I reached out to Tori. Was like, who I'd like to see on your show too, and I had already been thinking about it too. Was John Benton. So I reached out to John Benton.
good.
So we don't have a date yet, but he was like, yes, I'd love to hang out with you guys. So he's
cool.
definite for everyone at home too. Tom Green, it's out there. We'll let you know as that unfolds. Marc Summers, that's brand new. We'll let you know how that unfolds. And
I still want that video.
I think we have somebody tomorrow. I can't remember, but man, thank you so much
Of
for
course.
being here.
Jay, my pleasure.
It was such a
My
pleasure,
meeting
to
you, man,
get to
in
know
person,
you.
for sure.
And Mrs. Ryan, gosh, I love you so much.
Love you.
And we love everybody at home. We will see you tomorrow. Go ahead. He wants to plug his watch with an A on it. Alabama A.
That was out talk. That was out talk, not intended. That's for the webcast.
It'll have the bars over it.
And now we're off.
I have Mark